Welcome to Interfaith New Thought Spiritual Center Worldwide, where we believe nothing happens by chance, that everything is by a divine appointment. And we're all here today because we heard the call and we answered that call. And if you're tuning in at this moment, this message is for you, because nothing happens by chance. Everything is attracting unto us through the law of correspondence and the law of attraction. And as we gather today on this first Sunday in March, our theme for the month is Invisible Acts of Power. It's a book by Carolyn Mace, a very beautiful and profound work. And she talks about grace, intuition, and power. That we come in with this energy. And when we think about the grace of God that is flowing through all of life, that these little invisible acts of power that we bear witness to on a daily basis, and some of us are not even aware of it. It's just amazing how that works. And she was sharing in her book, Invisible Acts of Power, that she was sitting on her balcony one morning, and she looked out at the bus stop, and there was a young man who had the baggiest pants that you could ever imagine, that were, practically falling off of him, and he was kind of covered with tattoos, and she said, there I was, repeating what my parents used to say, what's becoming of the young people of today. And there I was sitting and judging, and suddenly a little elderly lady came out of a store, and she was carrying oversized boxes. Without even hesitating, he jumped up, he took the boxes from her arms, he walked her to her car, he placed the boxes in. She turned, she had the most amazing, full smile, and gave him the biggest bear hug on the planet. And she thought, I just bore witness to an invisible act of power, this moment of grace, where this young man here, I'm judging about what he looks like, and his soul within him, not hesitating to reach out and serve, to give sacred service at that moment. And he may probably never see this woman again, but she's, to this day, probably still smiling over that moment of grace, where someone reached out beyond the boundaries, beyond the, let's just say, customs and mores of the day, to help someone else, to support someone else, to serve someone else. These are the moments of grace. And wherever I am, if there is a homeless person that asks me, no matter, if I only have change that day, I give it all to them, because there, but for the grace of God, go I. That we are related at a very deep, deep, divine level. Someone asks, well, am I my brother's keeper? Well, we think about it. Am I my brother's keeper? We are our brother. We are our sister, energetically. And this moves beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation. This reaches through it all to the heart of the matter. And the heart, remember, is the doorway to the soul. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man, woman hear my voice, let them answer, and I will come into them. In other words, I will be with them, and sup with them, commune with them. Live from the energy of spirit is what that means. So when we talk about these little moments of grace, where we bear witness every day to some random act of kindness, and not so random. And I think the most amazing experience I've ever had in my ministry was in San Diego, and I was teaching class, and class ended about 9 o'clock at night, and then I would go to the gym, right off the 163. And I would get out, about 11 o'clock, and I was driving home to Coronado, and there was the 163 bridge that led to the San Diego Zoo and Balboa Park. And I saw in the distance a young man jump from the bridge and land on the pavement. And and by this time it's, probably closer to midnight. I pulled my car over to the shoulder of the freeway, and I jumped out, and I had an Afghan in my car, and I grabbed it. And behind me were two other people that immediately stopped their cars, parked on his shoulder, and we all ran to him, and I put the Afghan over him, and the gentleman said, "I'm a doctor." The woman said, "I'm a nurse." And I said, "And I'm a minister." Honey, you've got it covered. You are not ever going to end your life this night, because through this invisible act of power, this moment of grace, whatever you have to do, you are not finished. You lived through this. Well, his leg was hurting like hell, if we believed in hell. And he was moaning in hell. And I just held him in my arms, rocking him, and saying, "You know what? Whatever it is that stimulated and motivated you to jump from that bridge didn't work. You have other work to do. You are supposed to be here. You have a destiny to fulfill." The doctor he had things in his car, and he was making a tourniquet around his leg, and when the medevac guys came, they said that he had broken his upper femur. To jump from a bridge and only break your femur is pretty amazing. And to create in the energy field, a doctor, a nurse, and the nurse had a sedative with her that she gave him an injection. And the minister saying, "There is one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, and that life is your life. Right here, that which needs to be healed is healed, that which needs to be revealed is revealed, that which needs to be known is known, and that which needs to be released is released, quickly, gently, and with grace." And I just kind of tucked my card in his pocket and said, "You keep this Afghan, because it's going to remind you of one of the most significant experiences of your life. You jump from the bridge, and you live to tell about it. You have amazing work to do." And a few years later, I was speaking from my pulpit in San Diego, and I always greet everyone at the door, and a young man came through, a very nice-looking young man, and he said, "You probably don't remember me, but a few years ago, I'm the one that jumped from the 163 bridge, and you wrapped that Afghan around me, and the doctor served me, and the nurse helped me. And I want you to know that I went on to become a psychologist. And I have a practice here in San Diego, and I am serving others with depression and the things that I went through. I am able to serve others." And I said, "Honey, you are the most." I mean, talk about a moment of grace and an invisible act of power. When you made that decision to jump from that bridge, that was the breakthrough. Remember, the legs that are standing in the truth and moving forward. And so I said, when that limb that broke, that was your breakthrough, so that you could reevaluate your life. And that whatever you were going through at that moment, it wasn't as big as the work that you are here to do. And we embraced. And he said that he had the Afghan in a very special place. I said, "Good, because my mother-in-law made it. And it was special to me, and I could pass it on so that you could always be reminded that you are loved and cared about and created the most miraculous experience that I had ever borne witness to. An invisible act of power. When we see something going on, we immediately stop to take care of it. Because am I my brother and sister's keeper? No, I am them. They are me. And when we are in that place of unity that does move beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation, there really is only one of us. And it takes, I think, great courage to live our lives. Great courage that when we go through the vicissitudes of life, and we have our sorrows and our sufferings, and as Dostoevsky said, that I may be worthy of my sufferings, that I may be redeemed through my suffering, that I may acknowledge that there's a power and a presence in the universe greater than I am, and it is using me, flowing through me, going before me, and preparing the way as I become a lamp unto my own feet, drawing others into that energy field. Now, it's very fascinating, you know how I love, the little fables. And there is a fable about all of the mice that had gotten together in the barnyard. And they had a singular enemy. And that enemy, guess what? Was the C-A-T, the cat. So they thought, we have to devise a way to know when the cat is coming. And a little mouse said, I know. We're going to put a bell around the cat's neck. And they all said, yes, that is wonderful, because as the cat approaches, we'll hear the bell ring, and we'll be forewarned, and we can scatter into our safety. And the old mouse said, very good idea, young one. But tell me, who is going to place the bell around the cat's neck? Oh, that's a different story, isn't it? Who has the courage to look the so-called enemy in the face and do what needs to be done? Now, Abraham Lincoln said that he had no enemies, he always made them his friends. So when we acknowledge that there is a power and a presence in the universe greater than we are, that it can move through all of our considerations, our judgments, our old wounds, our hurts, our pettiness, and come out on the other side. And I had the opportunity, my favorite Martin and I went to our Alice's 95th birthday party on Friday. And she's now in Desert Hot Springs at a beautiful, beautiful facility. It's assisted living with only 4 residents. And Matt, who used to come to our center at the Camelot, is there. He's the owner. And it is so beautiful and so wonderful. And she had broken her pelvis in January. And there she was at her party, walking all around and greeting her. There were about 30 people there, greeting them, and so happy to see everyone. And it's so amazing when we think that we reach 95 years young, and the life that has been lived, and the energy, and her enthusiasm, and her amazing attitude. And you know what she said? She said, I have lived to be 95 because I wake up every morning and I give gratitude. I thank God for my life. I thank God for my family. I thank God for my friends. I thank God for my shelter. I thank God for my food. I give gratitude about everything. And as she spoke these words, and she was, sharing this with her table, my heart just opened so deeply. Because the truth is, the grounded being in life is gratitude. So when we talk about invisible acts of power, and that we can look out from our balcony and say, oh, look at him. Old baggy pants and tattoos everywhere. What's the world coming to? Repeating what the parents said, right? And then suddenly, there's a moment of grace, a moment of love, where boxes are lifted from an elderly woman's arms and placed in her vehicle so she can be about her day in her way. A moment, if someone makes a decision that they're going to end their life and jump off a bridge and it doesn't work, there is an invisible act of power in that energy, in that consciousness that can go forth from that after creating a doctor, a nurse, and a minister. Come on. He didn't have a chance. We were like right there. And go on and become a psychologist and specialize in clinical depression to serve others and extend his life and what he's learned, because I have survived jumping off the 163 bridge and created a doctor, a nurse, and a minister. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Pretty amazing. So on this glorious day, as we gather together to acknowledge, I'm going to put the bell around the cat's neck. I'm going to make that cat my friend. Because in truth, there are no enemies, only friends we haven't met. And if we're not vibrating at the same frequency with someone, that's okay. They don't have to be our bosom buddy. But we can acknowledge Christ in me salutes the Christ in you. The Buddha nature, the universal nature, the love principle of the universe is vibrating at a high frequency, and I'm going to go there. That's what works for me. Because life is too short to carry around grievances, upsets, and pettiness. It's way too short. So let's make a decision on this glorious Sunday morning that we are going to put into place these unrandom acts of kindness, that we're going to extend ourselves in such a way that everyone and anyone is healed and uplifted in our presence. Think about it. Everyone and anyone who comes within our energy field is healed and uplifted in our presence. We extend not a handout, a handout, because we are in a high place and we will not come down. None of these outer things move us. We've made a decision to be in a high place, to operate from that place, and to extend love one to another beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation. We are all one in the sight of our Father, Mother, God. So on this glorious day, we're all going somewhere. Where is it? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. And as we acknowledge that high place, we acknowledge each other. Namaste. The God in me salutes the God in you, and the God in you salutes the God in me. And if I am in that place in me, and you are in that place in you, there is only one of us. Shalom, the peace that passes all understanding in this beautiful Lieberman Chapel. And God bless us, everyone. And so it is. Thank you.